Now we are going to practice dividing fractions. But before we practice dividing fractions, I want to go over the two problems you just did. So remember, when we multiply, based on our key point, when we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerator and get a product, and we multiply the denominator and get a product. So if we multiply 2 times 1, you should get 2. And if you multiply 3 times 2, you should get 6. So your answer should be 2 over 6, but we know we need to put in a simpler form. We know that we can divide 6 by 2, and we can divide 2 by 2. So 2 divided by 2 equals 1. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So our answer should be 1/3. Our next problem, 2 over 3 times 3. Remember that we give the big number a 1, and we put it under a 1 if we are trying to multiply fractions across, because this still is the same thing as 3. We just put a 1 down there. So 2 times 3 equals 6. And then 3 times 1 equals 3. So I know that I can divide 6 by 3, and I know I can divide 3 by 3. So that gives me 2 over 1, which is the same as 2. So you should have gotten 1/3 and 2 for your answers. All right, now we are going to divide our fractions. So we have 2 key points again. Key point 2 is the same as earlier. Remember that the sign, your sign of the answer. So if you are multiplying a positive by a negative, you still get a negative. If you are multiplying a negative by a positive, you get a negative still. And if you multiply a negative by a negative, it turns into a positive. Our key point 1 is that dividing a fraction is the same as its reciprocal. I know reciprocal is a word that might be a little difficult for us to remember the meaning. A reciprocal is the opposite. So it's the opposite of this. So if I have 1/2, its reciprocal would be 2 over 1. So let me show you that on my thing. If I have 1/2, its reciprocal is 2 over 1. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1. So that means that when I divide fractions, I flip the second fraction, because that's the reciprocal. The reciprocal is the flip of the fraction. So if I'm dividing these, I flip this fraction, the second one. So this means it would be 1/3, and then I also multiply. So it'd be 1/3 times, instead of divide, it's times 2 over 1. And I would solve for that. So remember, when we are multiplying fractions, we multiply the numerators and get a product, and we multiply the denominators and get a product. So we have 1 times 2 gives you 2. 3 times 1 gives you 3. So our answer is 2/3 for the first one. Our second one is 1/3. We'll still put this over 1, just so we see. And remember, when we divide, we have to flip it so we can multiply it. So we'll do 1/3 times 1 over 1, which is the exact same thing. So we still get 1/3. Our third one is 1/3 divided by, or negative 1/3 divided by 3. And we'll put 3 over 1, because remember, you always put it over 1. But we need to flip it because we're multiplying the reciprocal. So negative 1/3 times 3 over 1. 1 times 3 equals 3. Divided by 3 equals 3. Oh, what did I forget? I forgot my negative. So we have a negative 3 over 3, which is equal to 1. Because 3, or divided by 3, you get 1 over 1, which turns into 1. But make sure you put that negative, so we should have -1 for our answer. What I want you to do is go ahead and answer the 2 questions on the bottom.